When your child is diagnosed with cancer, your thoughts, your worries, and your fears automatically revolve almost exclusively around your sick child. Sometimes it's hard to bear, that you can't spare your child from all of this or take it away from them. Many parents describe these constant thoughts as extremely stressful. But what you can do is be there for your child, give them your love and all your support. And that is more than you might think. To be able to support your child well through the treatment period, it's enormously important that you also take good care of yourselves. That's why in this video, we're going to focus on the topic of self-care. And also how you can manage to look after yourselves with a few simple strategies. Each parent individually and of course together as well. But first we should clarify, what is self-care exactly? And what's the point of it anyway? So, first of all, self-care doesn't mean you have to book a weekend at a spa hotel. Instead, it's about very simple things that you can integrate into your daily life. Like this cup of tea right here. It's a way to do something good for your body and also your mind by taking a little time out. And it is little things like this that can really help you to pause and recharge your batteries. Of course, that can on some days be really difficult, with all the stress and challenges you're facing right now. And still, it's especially important in your situation now that you also take time for yourselves. The best way to explain why this is so important is with an example. If you've ever been flying with an airplane, you've for sure heard the following sentence, or something like it, right? I'm talking about this one. In the event of a drop in cabin pressure, please put on your own oxygen mask first before helping others and children. And there's a good reason for that. Because only when you take good care of yourself do you have the strength to be there for others. And it's a similar situation for you. When you take enough care of yourselves, you'll have much more strength to care for your sick child. Or to put it another way, everything you do for yourself ultimately helps your child too. So in the end, you will all benefit. Okay, so we've clarified that. Self-care should be taken seriously, and it doesn't just strengthen you, but everyone else as well. But how exactly does it work, this self-care? What can you do to positively influence your well-being? That's what we'll get to now. As I said before, self-care starts with very everyday things, like making sure you eat enough, drink enough, get enough sleep, and get some exercise. With that, you've already met your body's most important basic needs. That may sound totally trivial, I know that, but believe me, it's still forgotten very often. So before we continue now, I'm actually going to take a nice sip of tea myself. That helps. It does feel good, right? So, where were we? Yes. In addition to physical well-being, there's also mental well-being, of course. So, make the most of every opportunity you have to build moments into your day that make you feel good. That could be reading, listening to music, a walk in the fresh air, short breaks where you can catch your breath. And it's best to do that every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. And you'll notice that even such short timeouts can really make a big difference and can reduce stress and tension. And of course, it's also important not just to listen to others, but to give your own burdens the space they need. That can be, for example, by talking to a good friend. And when you share your feelings with others and just let out what's bothering you, you'll find it easier to be fully present for your child again afterwards. This means, just as your child needs you, you need other adults to support you and be there for you. At the same time, you should consciously ask yourselves, who do we really want to talk to about this, right? And how do I want to talk about it? You may have already experienced for yourselves that it can trigger a lot in others, when you talk about your child who has cancer. And the reactions can range from distress to uncertainty to unsolicited advice, but also sincere, heartfelt offers of help. In any case, ask yourselves what can really help you and what is less helpful. What communication is helpful? You're doing yourselves, and those around you a huge favor if you communicate this openly and honestly. And you are allowed to, and perhaps even have to, set boundaries from time to time. This can, for example, mean setting a boundary against the reactions and communication needs of those around you. Because self-care also includes knowing your personal boundaries and also getting to know and accepting the boundaries of others. Often individual family members have very different ideas and needs. For one person, it feels good, to share a lot externally, while another prefers to talk only with a very few selected people. Of course, you have to somehow reconcile that. And so it can be helpful if you, as a couple and also as a whole family, think about how you can find a way that feels okay for all of you. By the way, this also applies to the topic of social media. Ask yourselves together how much you want to make public. And also don't forget that your child also has a right to their privacy. Therefore, you should consider that information you share on the internet and elsewhere about your child can still be seen and read by anyone years later. So you're not just deciding for now, but also for the future. It may also be that as parents or as a couple you have very different ideas on this or other topics. In this case too, you should be as open and honest with each other as possible. Sometimes just listening is part of the solution, you know? And if you can't make progress on your own, it can often help to get professional support. The psychosocial team will gladly help you to work out what strengthens you personally and as a family, both during and after the treatment period. They can also give you good tips on how to be there for your child and how you yourselves can find a good way to handle the situation. And the psychosocial team is also familiar with various support services that you are legally entitled to make use of. By the way, on the topic of social legal claims, we've made a separate video which we'll link for you here. So you should always remember, self-care also means helping yourself by getting help, so you can let go of additional worries and have more time to focus on what's really important now.